Good morning, boys and girls. Today's story by Steve Herman is Train Your Dragon to Be Responsible. I know during this time of at-home learning, everybody has a little bit of different responsibilities at home and different chores. I know I sure do. So it's one thing to make sure we are being responsible and helping out the family while everybody has to stay at home. This is volume 12 of the My Dragon Book series. Hello, my name is Drew. I have a dragon for a pet, and that's about as cool a pet as anyone can get. His name is Diggory, and he doesn't scratch or bite. For a prehistoric creature, he's really quite polite. A dragon's not too tough to train. It takes no time at all. Just have a little patience and start when he is small. Diggory can sit and stay. He obeys commands. I tell him. He even takes a daily bath, so we don't have to smell him. But understand that dragons can be a bit resistant to lessons that are tough to learn, so you must be persistent. For instance, dragons won't admit when they've made a bad mistake, and they hate to take the blame for the choices that they make. Diggory used to wake up late and miss the bus to school. He tried to place the blame on me, which isn't very cool. It's not my fault at all, he cried. I tried my very best. You didn't wake me up, so I couldn't get up and get dressed. Another time when Diggory would not accept the blame was when he lost his temper and he breathed a little flame. Dad's favorite chair went up in smoke before we even knew it. You made me mad, said Diggory. That's what made me do it. Diggory used to interrupt when others tried to speak. He said he didn't mean to, his mouth just seemed to leak. And all the words came tumbling out when he should hold them back. That's just how I am, he cried, a talking maniac. Mother baked a chocolate cake, but when it was finished cooking, Diggory ate it all himself when no one else was looking. Don't be mad, said Diggory. You know cake is yummy. That's why I could not wait to get it in my tummy. Sometimes Diggory skipped his chores to watch some television. He'd not admit even a bit it was a bad decision. Perhaps your viewing time, I said, could use some limitation. Don't blame me, said Diggory. I can't resist temptation. Diggory teased a boy in class. Teacher sent him home from school, 'cause that's what teachers do when dragons choose to break a rule. It's not my fault, yelled Diggory. When I did something bad, I'd not have done it if he didn't make me so mad. Diggory made excuses every single time he could for all the choices that he made, which were not very good. "It's not my fault," he'd always say, whenever he had blown it. "I told him when he messes up, he really ought to own it." If it teaches you a lesson, a mistake is not that bad. Let's take a moment and review the lessons that you've had. Now you set your own alarm so you're never late to school. And when you're mad, you count to 10 and let your temper cool. You've learned to practice self-control so you can do what's right, like wait your turn to speak and not eat cakes in just one bite. You turn the TV off until you've done what you must do, and you're careful what you say, no matter what's been said to you. Diggory thought a moment, then he said, "Now I think it's true, that life is so much better when I own the things I do. Now I'm much more careful of the choices that I make, and I carefully consider all the chances that I take." "We all make mistakes," I said. "We've all committed wrongs. When you make a poor decision, place the blame where it belongs. Just take responsibility and do not be afraid to admit that you're at fault for the errors that you have made. Whenever you've done something that you really ought not do, don't put the blame on someone else. Admit that it was you. Then next time when you're tempted to do what you should not, you'll remember how that felt and the lesson that it taught." A mistake is not a bad thing, I think you now can see, if it teaches you a lesson of a better way to be. This is one of many things I've taught to Diggory do. If it's good for little dragons, then it's good for children too. The end. So this book about being responsible is something really important. Remember, when you're at home, you need to be responsible for little brothers and sisters, for your parents, making sure we're owning our actions and showing our parents and our families how we learn to roar even at home. Have a good one, boys and girls.